Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to all the distinguished senior fellows and fellows of the Academy, Statesmen for Science that Champions STIE. Welcome to the 26th annual general meeting, and this is the second time that we are meeting virtually. And I'm pleased to share that we have exceeded last year's numbers with now 191 fellows out of 392 in attendance. And this is the highest attendance so far, because last year we had 184. That will make it the highest attendance so far in AGM in our history of 26 years. And I believe that we are now more well-versed with attending meetings online, so there should now be little or no glitches this time. However, should any glitches occur today, I would like to request for your kind understanding. Before we begin our meeting today, I would like to invite fellows of the Muslim faith to recite Al-Fatiha and fellows of the other faiths to observe a minute of silence as a mark of respect and remembrance in memory of our dearly departed senior fellow academician, Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Khalid Yusof, and our fellow Professor Dr. Hamdani Saidi. Al-Fatiha. Thank you, everyone. Senior fellows and fellows of the Academy, about a decade ago, the Academy fully embraced the role of a thought leader and started to publish flagship studies that made our stakeholders sit up and take notice of the areas that the Academy is championing, which demonstrated our capability to steer evidence-based decision-making. Since then, we have received more and more requests from ministries and agencies for the Academy to become a strategic partner to provide STI-related input for the drafting of policies and strategies over the years. As a result, we have established a strong track record in developing impactful and insightful policy papers and cross-cutting national plans, which has enabled the Academy to now move from being an STI advisory body to a voice of influence and a change maker. We are now also working with organizations that are in areas beyond traditional confines of STI, such as those who are involved in providing financial capital for the development of the STI ecosystem. We have been approached by international bodies like the World Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, the Commonwealth, UNESCO, and more. We have noticed that the UK government, the World Bank, OECD, UNESCO, among others, have been monitoring all of our studies and initiatives and referring to it in their evaluations and reports. Now, for example, the UK government, through the School of International Futures, published a study titled Features of Effective Systemic Foresight in Governments Around the World. They choose 8 countries and as case studies to see how these countries integrate foresight into policy making in a comprehensive way. And Malaysia was selected as one of the countries, alongside Canada, Finland, New Zealand, and Singapore, among others. Our foresight study, emerging science and technology study, the NPSTI, and the 1010 Malaysian STIE framework were recognized as the key milestones in deploying effective foresight in policymaking as part of the study. We are delighted to see that our studies are looked up by key nations and used as a model for countries globally who are interested to adopt the best practices. So congratulations and well done to all fellows who were involved in these studies. And this is something that ASM could not have achieved without your insights, your commitment, and perseverance to make a difference. The hallmark of the year 2020 was seeing ASM recommendations and efforts to mainstream science, technology, and innovation towards building a sustainable ecosystem now becoming reality. This is something that ASM has been championing since the first edition of the Science Outlook was published in 2015. Many, especially among the international academies, are asking what is ASM's formula in successfully reaching out to policymakers and decision makers. Actually, it's derived from two factors. The first factor is academy's ability to engage diverse stakeholders by virtue of being an independent body that has garnered the trust of our stakeholders. We need to continue upholding the trust because when ASM calls, stakeholders now know that their concerns will be addressed to make a change in the current system. Allow me to share some news to illustrate this point. Now, if you remember, our General Assembly in 2019 brought up the topic of hydrogen economy. We then set up the Hydrogen Economy SIG, or Special Interest Group, which was led by Professor Datuk Wan Ramli. Now, just yesterday, Datuk Tengku Azman led the academy's team, which consisted of Professor Datuk Bakar and the SIG chair, Professor Datuk Wan Ramli, all present in a meeting on hydrogen economy that was shared by Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economic Affairs, and attended by entities such as Nano Malaysia and UMW. The points put forward by the Academy, by Nano Malaysia, and UMW will be integrated in a way forward to address hydrogen economy for the nation. Now, this attests to the fact that the industry and other potential partners in our ecosystem have no qualms about working with the Academy as they see us as a neutral entity working in the interests of the nation. This is testament to the fact of how the Academy has garnered the trust of players in the ecosystem, which is a factor in our formula for success. This is also the result of our persistence and continuous engagement and positioning of the Academy's work among central agencies like EPU and relevant ministries. It has taken us 3 attempts to get the attention of policymakers and decision makers on hydrogen. Now, thank you to Datuk Tengku Azman as the chair for the Policy and Strategy Working Group under STIPAC for providing valuable insights that enabled the refining of the presentation and the key messages. This allowed us to develop messaging that is more succinct and easier to understand by the policymakers. Now, the second factor for success is how the Academy is strategically positioned in the national landscape by being a member of the National Science Council and the National High-Tech Council. We are also sought after by other national councils like the National Mineral Council, the National Water Council, to name a few. This allows us to have now the opportunity to present key takeaways from our flagship studies to the highest level of decision makers. And to date, ladies and gentlemen, the Academy has now presented 13 papers to the various national councils from 2014. We are now strategically placed in a channel that gives us the advantage of experiencing the whole chain of the development, the ideation, the implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. Now, change usually starts at the bottom and works its way up, first to society on a mass scale, and eventually lawmakers and people in power. But many a times, the push can also take place from top down. The Academy uses both approaches to ensure that we can mainstream STIE to our society. Now, this has allowed us to attain success in mainstreaming STI and creating the ecosystem since 2016, which can be seen through the adoption of some of our SIGs, some of our studies, task forces, policies like, for example, the National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation 2021 to 2030 that was led by Professor Datuk Awang Bogiba, Awang Mahmud, and Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Rahmah Muhammad. Then we have the 10-10 Malaysian Science, Technology, Innovation Economic Framework, which is the collaborative effort between Professor Dr. Mahendra Nair and his team and fellows of the Academy and our team of analysts that we have. And more recently, the Nanotechnology Policy, which was drafted by a team led by Professor Datuk Engineer Dr. Abdul Rahman Muhammad and Professor Dr. Zainovia Lokman, and is now soon to be presented to Cabinet. We are also laying the foundation through the top-down approach to adopt ideas from fellows that are ahead of the curve, such as precision medicine, precision biodiversity, hydrogen economy, and precision agriculture as part of the 13 national niche areas. This will establish a path for our fellows to create roadmaps or programs through the bottom-up approach by allowing them to put forth programs or research projects that will enable us to be more competitive nationally and globally. Now, some of the SIGs or policies or studies that are in the pipeline to be presented to Cabinet or central agency are precision medicine that will now be presented to Cabinet in June 2021. Precision biodiversity to be evaluated now under RMK12 under the second rolling plan, and hydrogen economy to be included now in RMK12 initiative. Now, over the last year as well, we have been sought out by multiple ministries to provide input for 15 cabinet memorandums, such as the paper on data governance, the paper on immunization plan, and the paper on biosecurity, to name a few. Now, within this virtual hall of August Minds, we need to combine our areas of expertise in this era of the convergence of knowledge. The confluence of expertise, the extensive and rich engagement with the stakeholders, as well as the strength of our analysts and officers from the academy, created a winning combination that enables effective communication of findings and recommendations of studies in a manner that can easily be digested by our stakeholders. Now, as fellows, we should join all platforms available through the academy or other bodies or institutions to listen to the opinions of others and share in what could very possibly be difficult conversations. But in order to put forward, we need to listen to them so that we can now put forward impactful recommendations such as to the stakeholders. So, and we need to continue to be persistent to push the SDIE agenda. Now, I'm happy to see more and more fellows being involved in the academy studies and initiatives. At present, the biggest ongoing study is the roadmap for the National Agenda on Water Sector Transformation for the Economic Planning Unit, which involves 162 experts and 34 analysts. This study is expected to be completed by the end of the year. I hope that all fellows will play a more visible role by being a voice of change, representing the scientific community to ensure the credibility and quality of ASM strategic inputs. And I hope that these efforts will also include representation from other parts of the academy, to be it from the Young Scientist Network or from the top research scientists of Malaysia. Senior fellows and fellows of the academy, the concept of science, technology, and innovation and economy is the brainchild of the academy. For the first time, the two sectors have been linked for value creation and impact realization through these two national frameworks. This is the way forward. If there's one thing that COVID-19 pandemic has taught us, it is that in order to remain resilient, we need science to power our economy, especially in the post-COVID-19 era. Now, to ensure Malaysia remains competitive globally, the government needs to continue its efforts to mainstream SDI as a driver of economic growth in its transformation plans. Now, with rapid change of technology brought about by Industry 4.0, we need to instill innovation in our industries in order to move productivity. We need to create SDI-based industries that use our own indigenous technologies. And only then can Malaysia be a producer of technology instead of merely just a user of technology to be able to compete in the knowledge-based economy. Now, two of the studies that we have been involved in that will assist towards this and set off systemic change in the innovation ecosystem are the National Policy on SDI 2021-2030 and the 1010 Malaysian SDIE framework. Now, while we provided the insight for this edition of MP-SDI, the 1010 My SDIE framework is a brainchild of the academy. The MP-SDI 2021-2030 and the 1010 My SDIE framework were launched by the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, YB Khairi Jamaluddin, on the 8th of December 2020. I'm happy to report that the 1010 My SDIE Transformation Book has been sought after locally as well as internationally. To date, the Transformation Book has been downloaded 3,230 times by people in 30 countries within a space of 4 months. To date, this is our biggest blockbuster among our key books published. While MPSDI is the launchpad for the aspiration to be a high-tech nation by 2030, the 1010 My SDIE framework provides a systemic approach to transform Malaysia into a knowledge-intensive economy by design. It serves as a tool to ensure that projects are strategically and inclusively implemented. The 30 niche areas from the 1010 My SDIE framework have been adopted as the base of Malaysia Grand Challenge. The Malaysia Grand Challenge will now fund innovators and researchers to see through their effort. With these policies, we are pushing for systemic change in the national SDI landscape to advance Malaysia's competitiveness and socio-economic development. Let me share the SDI landscape that the Academy had proposed and has been approved by Cabinet. Under this landscape, the Academy has proposed for the National Science Council to be reinstated under the Pakatan Harapan government and continued under the Perikatan National Government, and the formation of the High-Tech Council under MOSTI to strategize the high-tech initiatives in the country. We also propose the formation of the Malaysian Science Endowment and Technology Commercialization Agency, equivalent to A-STAR of Singapore, to complete the ecosystem. The Technology Commercialization Accelerator, or TCA, and the Malaysian Science Endowment, or MSE, as two entities that will now complete the innovation ecosystem to address the R, research, development, commercialization, innovation, and enterprise value chain. In this landscape, also, we have positioned the 1010 My SDIE as the national SDIE framework to facilitate the SDIE initiatives for the country. We are currently in the midst of giving input on the function of the three main entities of RDCINE, namely RMA, or Research Management Agency, TCA, and MSE that has been approved by Cabinet. So all the areas that are ticked on the graph, those are things that Academy has done. So to ensure that all the players of the SDIE landscape are institutionalized, MOSTI has appointed Professor Datuk Dr. Aisyah Bidin as the representative of the Academy to lead the drafting of the SDI Act. We hope with this landscape, we could create a robust innovation ecosystem. Innovation in this context is about our industries or enterprises using the homegrown solutions and technologies, or even the ability to adopt and adapt foreign technologies in their manufacturing systems. This will allow for the introduction of new products, practices, and services by the nation's industries. Let me now share to you about what MSE is all about. The main function of MSE is to strategize and attract alternative funds, such as from the endowment funds, the angel investors, the international funds, the SES funds, the crowdsourcing, and others, to ensure a sustainable funding for RDCINE and reduce dependence just on government funds. The Cabinet has approved for the Academy to be appointed as the anchor agency for this initiative. We are in the midst of structuring MSE within the Academy's structure and hope that it can now officially function earliest by the end of this year. In line with our appointment, we have initiated a discussion with Islamic Development Bank about collaborating to raise international RDCINE funds for the Malaysian scientific community, modeling the approach of the Newton Ungku Omar Fund. TCA, ladies and gentlemen, has just been approved by Cabinet. It will now function as a catalyst, enabler, and convener of innovation to spearhead economic-oriented research that is demand-driven R&D or market-driven delivery system, bridge research and technology commercialization through the creation of spin-offs, and nurture industry-ready talent. Within the academy, our pilot project, the Malaysian Collaborative Network for Innovation, or iConnect, is building the mechanism towards demand-driven R&D and market-driven delivery system. We have started this in 2019, and the proof of concept of this mechanism will now be applied by TCA. To date, 4 platforms have been formed and managed by 4 neutral entities in the area of halal, industry 4.0, medical devices, and fintech and Islamic finance. And we have been able to involve now 145 companies in 4 areas for them to now start the setting of the collaborative platform among the 4 quadruple helix to create knowledge clusters, disruptive innovation, and talent hub. And we hope to be able to deploy this pilot to TCA when TCA is fully established. The SDI Landscape that we had planned through our recommendation has almost materialized. But our role does not stop at formation of institutions or agencies. Now, as a matter of fact, the journey has just begun. We need to be continuously giving direction, continuously monitor, and lend our expertise to ensure it functions as aspired. That is the value chain for impact approach that we have adopted in monitoring all of our recommendations to ensure positive change by design happens in our nations. Senior fellows and fellows, how can fellows now contribute to ensure that change happens? What role can we play? Fellows need to be the change makers in order to elevate our scientific community towards being involved in research projects that is impactful to the society, to the economy, nation, and humankind. How do we do that? We need to collaborate internally and externally. Internally, we need to garner all of our experts, beyond fellows in our network, like the RSM, our associates, YSN, ASM, and the Mahathir Science Award laureates. We should work together and leverage on each other's expertise in order to face the SDIE changes and needs. And through this, we are more inclusive in our practices. Externally, we also need to choose a strategic partner that will drive our agenda faster at the national, regional, and global stage. With that, Council has decided to extend our chapters to the other regions in Malaysia. We have newly established 3 chapters in Sabah, in Sarawak, and the East Coast. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Rahimat Shah Ahmad, Emeritus Professor Datuk Insinyur Abang Abdullah Abang Ali, and Professor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin Abdullah, who has accepted the appointment as chairs for these 3 chapters. They will join the existing Southern and Northern chapters. And I hope that all 5 of the chapters will take on the spirit of the Academy through the initiatives that will now be organized over the next year and make our activities more inclusive. Each chapter will include the ASM Expert Network, which is the TRSM, the YSN, and all the associate as active members in their respective chapters. The future of research is about creating impact. Through the integrated and collaborative approach required by the MJM Malaysia Grand Challenge grants, our scientific community hopefully can now be transformed to have a wow mindset, which means W, world class, which is pace setting, outstanding, opportunity creating in whatever research proposal that they give. And lastly, the last W is winnable, meaning to say whatever has been proposed is transformative as well as impactful and will win the hearts of the community, the industry, the policymakers, etc. So this is a creative concept created by our fellow Professor Mahendran Nair. So with the roadmap and the funding that is available for them through the MGC and the MSE, Our researchers hopefully will now be able to move the 10-10 socio-economic sectors to the next level by providing disruptive solutions and innovations. This will enable us to take our technology to the world-class level. We need more researchers to think about wow factor in the RDCINE to ensure that their projects or their initiatives is impactful to the society, to the economy, and to the country. Senior fellows and fellows of the Academy, besides being involved in the national SDI governance initiatives, we have also been increasingly approached by several ministries to carry out policy studies and national roadmaps or blueprints. Some that have recently taken off are the National Robotics Roadmap led by Professor Dr. Insinyur Khairul Saleh Muhammad Sahari, the study on strengthening environmental governance by CASA led by Professor Datuk Dr. Insinyur A. Bakar Jaafar, our Vice President, and the National Biotech Policy requested by MOSTI. Some that are in the final phase of being firmed up is the new National Nuclear Technology Policy required by MOSTI, led by Tan Sri Dr. Ahmad Tajuddin Ali, and the RDCINE roadmap requested by MOSTI. Now, the Academy also played an instrumental role in drafting the National COVID-19 Immunization Program Handbook by taking on the role of writer and mediator between MKN, JPM, KKM, and MOSTI. This role was accorded to the Academy as it is an independent body that has the capacity to add value and communicate with all parties. I'm proud to share that the document was completed and has been published in 4 languages, Bahasa Malaysia, English, Mandarin, and Tamil, within the stipulated 2-week deadline. And all graphics of this book was also done internally by the Academy. The Academy was also called upon to help the Jawatan Kuasa Jaminan Akses Vaccine COVID-19 to construct modeling for risk calculation and with the simulation about the deployment of the vaccines in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This initiative is led by a member of the Young Scientist Network of ASM, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Nur Fadlina Muhammad Sharif, who is working together with a team of 9 data scientists to develop the necessary for JKJAB. The Council has approved the formation of a data scientist services platform under Academy of Science, which will include the training by MOSP, the Malaysian Open Science Platform, within the Academy to strengthen our capability with relation to data science analytics, and visualization. We realize the importance of our data analytics and data stewardship skills among our scientific community. And to date, under the Malaysian Open Science Training Program, we now have trained 56 data stewards in 2020, while another 178 will complete their training in June of 2020. And we have also attracted participation from South-South nations with the collaboration of ISTIC and UNESCO to train 100 participants in Asia and the Pacific region. Our data scientist team are also in the midst of developing data scientist training modules to be incorporated under the MOSP and the data analytic program. This is how Academy is planning to address the gaps of data scientists in Malaysia in order to move cutting-edge sectors like precision medicine, precision biodiversity, and precision agriculture. So congratulations and well done to everyone involved in all these initiatives. Your efforts have allowed the Academy to further strengthen ourselves as a thought leader as well as a doer for selected projects. We have revived ST.my, which was a collaborative effort between the Academy, MOSTI, and Utusan Malaysia that ran from 2002 to 2012. In the decade that it ran, ST.my enjoyed a huge success as it reached out to 350,000 readers on a monthly basis from across the nation. We hope that the electronic version will enjoy the same level of success or even greater. And I'm happy to report that to date, the new revived ST.my has attracted 45,000 views, highest impression, and is viewed by readers not only in Malaysia, but in 9 countries, USA, India, UK, Canada, Singapore, and more. The current edition of the magazine, accessible to all through a click of the mouse or tap of the finger, is how the Academy now aims to develop an interest in the next generation about the vast opportunities available in STEM. If you'd like to contribute articles for the site, please reach out to our SecGen, who is also the chief editor. We have explored other means of reaching out to the press, such as a video press release. Congratulations to Professor Dato Engineer Dr. Wan Ramli Wan Daud for being involved in this unique take of a press release about the findings of the Sungai Kim Kim and Pasir Gudang report. The outcome of the report was covered in Utusan Malaysia and in BFM, with Utusan giving the news on front page coverage in living color. I'm also pleased to share that the topic selection of the most recent idea exchange, moving towards the innovation-driven growth model, the challenges between policies and implementation, was also the focus of STAR's education section recently on the 18th of April, 2021. And this is part of our effort to push for systemic change to the innovation sector by raising awareness on the areas. We have also been receiving a lot of inquiries from the press about matters relating to blue ocean, to science and economy, environmental issues, and more over the last few months, which required for rapid response from fellows. The Council has approved for SecGen to now lead the ASM Media Response and Public Domain Focal Group. The roles and responsibilities of the committee will include to ensure the facts and information provided is accurate and timely, to be the focal communication point for the Academy, to ensure that the Academy is at the top of the mind for media houses, and to enable for Academy to be seen as a thought leader in the areas of science, technology, innovation, and socio-economy. I also like to share that we will be launching a podcast channel in October that will now expound on all things SDIE in a vibrant manner. Make sure to keep an eye out for the announcement within the next few months. Now, having a strong grasp of effective communication is important as members of the public look up to all of us fellows. Hence, we need to be responsible in how we communicate our thoughts to the community. And I hope that we can all play a role in being responsible about what we share, whether in person, through WhatsApp, or our social media accounts. As scientists that believe in evidence and facts, we should be responsible enough to ensure that information shared is accurate. Likewise, we should also verify information shared by others before we pass it on. This is to ensure that the stature of the fellows and the Academy remains valued and continues to be the point of reference for all the stakeholders. Now, since the Academy was established, one of the major initiatives that we have focused on is our international network. Now, through our networking effort and with the mode of meeting being virtual, we have been able to attend close to 30% more international meetings, an opportunity for us to take advantage of strategizing our new programs under the new norm. And to date, we have signed 20 MOUs connected with 51 science academies and 22 international SDI organizations globally, and are hosting 2 international offices on behalf of the Malaysian government. Now, currently, our annual budget has an allocation of more than 20% that goes to international programs. However, the efforts are not showing the impact that it should. As such, it is timely for us to now review our achievements over the last 25 years and re-strategize our approach to ensure that it really has an impact to the Academy, to the nation, and to our partners. I believe that the philosophy to ensure impact is to build inside, deploy outside. The time has come for a more practical and viable framing of international cooperation that resonates with deep-rooted national interests. Science diplomacy efforts will remain sustainable if what is built at the national level is translated to the like-minded regional level. By building insight through strategizing, positioning, and building of networks and platforms for concerted action, disparities can be reduced, inclusivity can be enhanced, impact can be delivered, and resilience can be built in the new era. So let us put our minds together and review our international programs to ensure that we can maximize the impact through resources and effort. This is our next agenda, and we would like to focus on re-strategizing our approach in the international programs. And I hope that fellows will continue to support all of our initiatives and look forward to the start of a fruitful decade ahead. Let us continue our journey in building our nation by putting together all the building blocks needed by our society. As statesmen of science, we lay down the foundation, we create new knowledge, we foster innovation. Now we must design and build the ecosystem for the next generation. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to a fruitful meeting today. I leave you with the launch video of MP SDI and 1010 My SDIE from last December. Thank you. Sekian wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.